In this video, we'll give you 6 wide receivers that you must draft in all of your fantasy football leagues. I'm Alan Seslowsky, along with Jeff Erickson of RotoWire.
So, Alan, for this exercise, I want to get one kind of early-ish, one medium, one late wide receiver. Guys that I'm pushing up over ADP a little bit, guys that I keep on clicking on. First guy I'm going with is Scary Terry, F1, Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders. I know there's a quarterback issue with Sam Howell. We'll see how good he is, but honestly, look at who they've had beforehand with McLaurin, and he still produced. Taylor Heineke, and he's still produced every single year. Do I think Sam Howell is a kingmaker? No, I do not. But McLaurin's going to get enough volume, enough production, enough efficiency with the targets he gets, with the quarterback he has, that he's well worth the wide receiver 25 price you're finding at the NFFC. I have him more around like 20, 19 or so. I know he's going to be a guy that one year could have 10 touchdowns.
If you're drafting Terry McLaurin, do you want Sam Howell to be the quarterback or Jacoby Brissett? Because as of right now, that's an open competition.
I want Sam Howell, but I'm okay with Brissett too.
Diontae Johnson, the wide receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jeff, is getting drafted as wide receiver 30 right now, 29-ish, somewhere around there. Greatly depends on the platform, which round he goes in some running back heavy places like the FFPC, he'll go in round 6 or round 7. In our favorite platform, the NFFC, he gets grabbed as soon as round 5. Diontae Johnson last season, 145 targets, resulted in 86 catches, 882 yards. The problem was 0 touchdowns last year. The 2 previous years, Diontae averaged a little bit over 7 touchdowns. Even with no TD support, Diontae finished as the wide receiver 29 last year. This year's draft cost. If Diontae Johnson even positively regresses to 4 touchdowns, and I expect a lot more than that, that would have made him the wide receiver 19 last year. It is reasonable to project him for 5 touchdowns, and that makes Diontae Johnson a wide receiver I just can't stop drafting this year.
Improved offensive line with the Steelers. This is going to be a better functioning offense this year. Johnson is at the head of it on the receiving tree. George Pickens gets all the highlights in camp. Go ahead and keep on clicking Diontae, though. That's what your base is at.
Yeah, you remember Miles Sanders, the running back now on Carolina from a couple years ago? He had 0 touchdowns, and then he was going where Diontae Johnson was in the 7th and 8th round, and then he gets the positive regression on touchdowns and ends up being one of the players you wanted to. It's easy to see that for Diontae. Who's going to be your next wide receiver that you can't stop drafting this year?
Boring old Mike Evans, wide receiver 32 in the NFFC. This is a guy that we know has big playability. Week 17, he won you championships if you still had the courage to start him. I understand last year was a very frustrating year. The Bucs offensive line isn't going to be Super Bowl quality good, but it's going to be better than it was last year. Things that are going to drag on his value, age, quarterback, team context, but that's why you're getting him so late. Again, this is another one where this is my flex, but I think he's the quality of wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 2. Chris Godwin goes sooner than him. I think I'd rather have Evans almost straight up, and certainly for the cost, give me Evans.
I cannot stop drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown in the middle of the 2nd round in most home leagues. The Lions' premier pass catcher gets drafted in the late 1st round in some of the higher stakes platforms. St. Brown finished as the wide receiver 7 last year despite missing some time. He continues to improve each year, and he's going to be the primary target for Jared Goff again this season. The Lions will be without last year's number 1 pick, Jameson Williams, for the first 6 games of the season, leaving St. Brown and 2 rookies in tight end Sam Laporta and running back Jahmyr Gibbs as the secondary weapons. Critics of St. Brown point to his low touchdown totals over the first 2 seasons, 5 TDs and 6 TDs respectively, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jeff, led the league in number of times being tackled inside the 5-yard line. That's just bad luck. I think it is reasonable to project Amon-Ra for 9 TDs, and he has the upside to score 12. If we get there, he's the wide receiver 1 overall. I can't stop drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown.
The world has listened to you because I see him go in the 1st round a lot of drafts now these days. In most recent drafts, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I also love his teammate, Jameson Williams, who you alluded to. I understand I'm not getting him for the first 6 games. I don't care. At the price I'm getting him, which is a bench price, I'm getting a guy who has got massive upside. You can't make a statistical case for Jameson Williams, but you can talk about where he was drafted last year, right behind Chris Olave, right behind Garrett Wilson. You saw the big playability with the 1 long touchdown, the other one that was called back last year. We know that the volume play will be there eventually. He has to earn it, but I'm talking about a guy that late in the season, someone that you can start that, is basically free money. He's going to be, and the Lions are going to support plenty of offense, plenty of passing offense in this team. especially late season. And I can't tell you how nice it is to have that guy kind of slot in. He's wide receiver 49 right now. So that means he is definitely on your bench. You don't have to really rely on him for those first 6 weeks. I think he hits the ground running when he comes back.
The last wide receiver that I can't stop drafting, the experts are split right down the middle on Christian Watson, the second-year wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers. Right now, he's right around wide receiver 24, 25 by consensus ADP, but I'm not sure why he's being considered closer to fellow second-year wide receivers Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who were drafted 3 full rounds before him. We don't need to project Watson since he already broke out. From the time he became a full-time player last year in Week 10, he was wide receiver 9 for the rest of the season. I understand the skepticism with Watson now that Jordan Love is under center. Did have a big game with him in Week 12 against the Eagles. It was 4 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. It's a small sample size, but football is a small sample size. I'm drafting Christian Watson happily in the 4th round every time I'm in a league. If you enjoy videos like this, consider hitting the like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications when RotoWire puts up new video content every single day. And right now, you can check out all of our fantasy football rankings for free. Get behind our paywall with a 2-day trial. Just type in rotowire.com/try, put in your email, and the paywall unlocks.